now this keeps United still in the game, but overall City performance has been really dominant throughout.
It was a great save by Onana, but is Haaland going to be a little bit disappointed?
Yeah, I think so. I think he would, regardless of the save. He always looks frustrated after he's missed an opportunity to score, but listen, he couldn't have done much more. It was an outstanding save. When I seen the replay, I'm thinking, has he hit it in the middle of the goal? And then you see it like, no, Onana's moved literally the width of the goal in the space of like half a second. So you have to give credit to the opposition sometimes, and in this moment, it's the save and the goalkeeper.
So City got their goal, as we say, from an Erling Haaland penalty. It came from a VAR decision for a pull on Rodri. Before we talk about the goal, what did you make? Get the defender's point of view, and then we'll get the striker's point of view, because they might be different. Defenders.
I thought it was harsh, to be honest. Just from a defensive point of view, listen, he hasn't pulled his shirt. He's stopped his momentum from going forward, and you're allowed to do that. He hasn't literally pulled him back, but for whatever reason or however possible, Rodri's made it look so natural and made it look like a penalty and a genuine pullback. So I understand why it was given, but I think it was harsh.
Defender?
Yeah, we spoke about it during the game, and I think we would be fuming if it was against us, but Haaland's in the wrong position completely to even mark Rodri. So I think he gets himself in such a awkward position. He has to do something, because when that ball's come in from Alvarez, it's a great ball and it is actually going to that area that Rodri's attacking, but a bit harsh. But I mean, yeah, I think if that's against us too, we'd be like, no, never a pen. But in this game, I don't mind it being a penalty, to be honest.
So the defenders not keen, the striker?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a pen, and the reason I say it is because I think when he makes the run, he's gotten goal side because of the defensive position of the defender. And if it's no problem, why are you pulling me? And there's a problem, and he knows that Rodri's a threat, and he's pulling Rodri because he's not in the right position, and Rodri therefore has gotten in a good position if the ball was close enough for Rodri to head it. And in today's rules, you don't have to be strong. So Rodri does go down, but you don't have to be. I think going back a few years ago, perhaps when I was playing, then you say, oh, it's really a soft penalty. But Rodri doesn't have to be strong. He's impeded him for me. And Rodri went, yep, thank you very much. You've pulled me enough, resisted me enough. And one particular angle I thought looked really convincing to me was like he really stopped Rodri. But that's also part of Rodri's, game that he's playing.
We're owed one, that's all I'm saying. We're owed one from Old Trafford.
Yes.
We're all agreed on that. In terms of the penalty, Onana is booked before the penalty is taken. He's just dawdling around, isn't he? He's pretending to take a drink. He's just delaying it a little bit. But it didn't put our Erling off.
No. Listen, obviously, he's been in that situation many a time, and he wasn't fazed by the antics of the goalkeeper. And I quite like that. I quite like that kind of try from the goalkeeper in regards to try and unsettle him. Yeah, gamesmanship and unsettle the momentum of Haaland, but he was focused. This is an opportunity for him to hit the back of the net, and he wasn't going to miss that.
Struck it well.
Yeah, he did. I think part of that is the longer the penalty taker has, the more sort of pressure it becomes on them, and that's what he's trying to get at. He's like, let me go over, have a drink, waste some time. But Haaland is the referee's seen him. No, he's having none of it, and potentially could have gotten a second yellow for the clapping, the sarcasm of clapping his hands. But Haaland steps up and does what he does, dispatches it in the corner, and we're just pleased to see that go in.
We've seen red cards for less this season.
We have,
haven't we,
we
Steph?
certainly have.
Yes, we have. It was a cracking finish, though, from Haaland. I'm so happy that I'm at a point where I'm no longer nervous when we get penalties.
Yeah, I think it's... the form that he has been in for the last season and this season, he's still getting goals, and obviously penalties are a big part of that. But I think we all noticed he had a bit of a different technique while taking the pen. He didn't take too much time on his walk back. But yeah, I think penalties in this day and age, everybody's trying to play a bit of mind games. People are trying to scuff up the spot, trying to get involved with the referee. But I think to handle that in the circumstances and in a derby, it was a great finish.
So we celebrated here in the studio, of course, and I know that fans around the world celebrated that goal as well. Nadum is currently in Oslo, where they are watching the game. This is how they were celebrating at that game. They've had the trophies there all week. and now they are celebrating their man, Erling Haaland, scoring. So that is Oslo. We've also got some cameras currently in Paris. That in the white jumper is our Georgia, who does the social media. Of course, you will recognise her if you ever go onto our social media. She is in a pub in Paris ahead of the Ballon d'Or ceremony tomorrow. She is very much enjoying the day in a Paris pub, and she's been chatting to some of the fans there.
Okay, so we have Akeem and Paul here, who are members of our French supporters club. It's 1-0 at half-time at Old Trafford, as we've seen. And guys, what do you make of the game so far?
So it's a really good game. It's a really good game.
It's a tough one, like every derby, but we're pretty confident for the second half. But we're still nervous. We just have a 1-0 lead, so hopefully we can at least keep this advantage, or hopefully get another goal.
I hope you're right on the latter there as well.
I'm a bit more confident than him.
Okay, nice.
I think we showed something good. Our players are really good in this first half.
So you're happy? So there'd be nothing you would change in the second half? Just carry on, keep going?
Maybe a little Doku.
Okay,
on the right wing. On the right wing.
Doku magic there, wouldn't
Jamie
there?
Doku might have an impact. On the
Okay.
right wing, there's
On the right wing, because Grealish is so good the first half. So
Okay,
maybe
perfect. And what's the final score, do you think it's going to be then?
Your call? What's your call?
4-0.
No, come on.
4-0.
I say
4-0.
2-0.
Okay.
I'm glad you
We'll
fixed
take
it.
either, I'm sure. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much to Georgia there. I love that they went to Paris ahead of the Ballon d'Or, and they seem to have found like an English pub in Paris. Like they say, George's crosses like flying in.
Oh yeah. When you
flying
say
in
pub,
the
it just
background.
screams England anyway. It just sounds English, doesn't it? Pub.
That is so true, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think of French people going to a
The pub.
Yeah. But 4-0 and 2-0 predictions there from our fans out in Paris. In terms of the rest of that first 45, we had a moment between Arabat and Foden where you felt like the derby was getting a bit derby-ish.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Definitely want to see that. I would like to not to be ending a booking, so you can see more of it. But the referee's obviously got to do a professional job, and I understand why he's kind of used that opportunity to kind of calm everyone down, because I think it could have got carried away after back of that. But now it's calmer now.
Yes, but it's nothing in it. Both of them really are doing nothing. They're just fronting up each other. But you're right, the referees use that opportunity to go, well, let me keep control of this game by putting out some yellow cards. But yeah, we want to get a little bit more tasty.
Yeah, I want to see some spicy tackles in there.
Yeah. We've seen red cards for less this season, Steph. I say again.
Can't say anything.
There was also a brilliant save by Edison in the first half towards the end, in that short period where United were getting more into the game. A really great save by Edison.
Yes, runner keeper is in the game very little to keep their concentration and then pull off an amazing save. This is what they said to do, because I couldn't imagine being a goalkeeper and then you're not really quite in the game, and then all of a sudden there's a bit of a situation and now you're having to pull off. And this is what Addison is. He has the quality of, we all know, with his feet, but also being a brilliant at shot stop at the time when it's needed. So we're going to need him, and well done to him.
I feel like that would have broken my arm, Steph. Like he managed to just kind of get something on it.
He's ridiculous. I think even not just that save in itself and being in that moment, but generally in the first half in terms of his passing, I think they expect him to play short all the time, and he's playing passes to Grealish, who's higher up. He can play it over the top if he wants to. I think for me, every time he's played this season, I've been really impressed with him, and I think he doesn't really get renowned for his saves, but I feel as though he is making big saves in big moments. To talk about Champions League, he couldn't get much bigger moment than in that final, but yeah, that keeps City on top without a doubt.
Looking ahead to the second half, Joleon, do you want to see any changes? What do you want City to do?
More the same. Potentially be a bit more narrow at the back when we've got comfortable possession, because literally in transition they're trying to get it forward within two passes. So you've got to recognise that if we're narrow, then it has to go wider than the defenders, and then there's an opportunity to recover, where at the minute it's just a little bit open for me.
Shaun?
I was just thinking back to a situation when Rashford received the ball and then he sort of quickly flashes it between two defenders, and it created that opportunity for them. And I thought, that particular pass is sort of unexpected, because normally when a ball shifts across to the wide player, defenders, they're shifting across and they're looking away from the ball and they're sort of making sure in the right line. And I partially thought with that situation, is that bad defending, or is that, I think it was just a situation where you don't typically expect a ball go wide and then it's just flashed through the two centre halves and the players sort of go side. But in terms of what we're looking at second half, I think it's more the same, continue with more the same, more control, not to be letting the game be they have it, we have it, because this will then get the crowd involved, and I think that'll be key. If I was to say Doku to come on, I would say probably the last 20, not as early as 10 or 15 into the second half.
Yeah, a couple of the fans we saw there in Paris, Steph, were suggesting Doku for the second half. Are you the same as Shaun? Would you perhaps like to see him in the last 20 minutes?
I'd like to if the game's a bit more stretched and there's more space, but I really do think that Grealish has had a really good first half. I think him and Bernardo on that left-hand side have worked really well together. And I mentioned to Joleon, whenever he used to play with Gundogan or De Bruyne on that side, you bring out the best in Grealish, because I think you've got people that are making runs in beyond, and he can then open up and try and link up with different players. But I think he's had a really good half. So I think if it is open, then there's no reason why Doku couldn't come on the right wing or the left wing, and Grealish could maybe move to the side. But I think more of the same from Manchester City. I think if we get another goal, I think the game's pretty much done.
You mentioned Bernardo Silva there. Guys, he's just a little workhorse, isn't he?
In these games, it brings out the best. And I think when you say about good players, I think the good players and the very best players play in the biggest games, and that's very, very apparent today in a derby.
You fan of his?
Massive fan. Technically, he's unreal. Like, there's some of the touches he does and the composure he shows. It looks so simple and effortless, but it's so hard to just like receive the ball in the way he does with his back to play and someone up against him. Even in his final third, I think through the stages of the pitch, he's probably the most comfortable player we have in possession of the ball.
You sticking with? I forget was your prediction 2-1. Are you sticking with 2-1?
Really?
I'll probably say 3-0 now, but.
So you copy my prediction?
No, I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1.
You're sticking with your 2-1. You sticking with your 3-0?
3-0, yeah.
2-0 sticking with.
Was yours 2-0?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sticking with my 6-1 still. What was the score at half time? Can you remember in the 6-1?
1-0.
Was it 1-0 to us?
Oh, 6-1 all day.
Sticking with 6-1
and then Johnny Evans gets set off. Come out second half, Johnny Evans gets set off. And all of a sudden.
Is it a premonition? Is it? You can see Mason Mount is warming up for Manchester United. Of course, if there is any changes, Alistair Mann will tell you as soon as we know. We will all be back here at full time. Imagine if we are celebrating another 6-1, by the way. I will be unbearable. I will be unbearable for weeks. But fingers crossed. The main thing is City to get a win at Old Trafford. Right, enjoy the second half, full match commentary with Alistair Mann and with Andy Morrison on the Manchester City app. We'll be back in 45 minutes. Come on, please.
Well, welcome back to Old Trafford, where Mason Mount is about to come on. He was warming up prodigiously during the half-time interval. I think it's Sofiane Amrabat that hasn't emerged from the tunnel. We'll get confirmation of that in a few moments' time. No personnel changes, understandably, for the Blues. And it looks as though Christian Eriksen will drop in deep alongside McTominay as part of that reshuffle, because Mason Mount will go into a more attacking part of the pitch. So just waiting complete confirmation of that, but it does seem as though it's Amrabat who has made way. It is indeed Amrabat. So I guess in many ways that's not a massive surprise, but obviously what it means is that Eriksen, Andy Morrison is alongside me. Eriksen will have to play